Hey everybody, what's up? Bats here, and for today's episode, we're going to have to go to the Macabre'Gorium Labs Media Museum. I'll see you there. And here we are at the Macabre'Gorium Labs Media Museum. Now let's break out the Time TV and see what we're going to cover in today's episode for our 1,000 subscriber special. Okay, let's see.
After 10,000 years, I'm free!
Too corny.
Super fighting robot! Mega Man!
Too lame.
We're tiny, we're toony, we're all a little loony.
We already covered that one.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Macabre'Gorium Labs School of Boredom, showcase of things likely forgotten.
Oh my gosh, I never thought we'd see this pop up on the TV.
02, General Mills Monster Cereals. Look back to when it all began. 1964, General Mills was making two main cereals, Wheaties and Cheerio. However, General Mills wanted to make other cereals and expand as a company.
Oh my God, that was so long ago.
To develop something new using a process that was already being used to make other cereals. The creative team came up with a very new and unique cereal.
Well, you know, I think we're going to stick with this one because, you know what? It was our first actual history video, and I think we can do a lot better. We're not going to reboot it. We are just simply going to revisit it. This script was actually written completely from scratch by Goat. So, enjoy. Hey everybody, what's up and welcome back to Macabre'Gorium Labs presents a showcase of things likely forgotten, formerly School of Boredom. My name is Bats, and I hope you'll join me today as we take a look at one of the very first topics we ever covered by completely revisiting it from scratch for our 1,000 subscriber special with General Mills Monster Cereals Revisited. So here we are at over 1,000 subscribers, and we thought it might be kind of fun to revisit one of our very first topics completely from scratch. For this special 1,000 subscriber episode, we thought long and hard about what to do and highlight how far our channel has come in quality and how we've evolved and provide fun, fact-filled entertainment for all. Now, it is well known that we, here at the Labs, love breakfast cereal, as we consistently say because we are kids of the 80s and early 90s. So we decided to revisit one of our favorite videos. Come on, you know the one. Premiering on April 6, 2019, episode 102, General Mills Monster Cereals, a frightfully filling breakfast option, a Macabre'Gorium Labs history showcase. Yeah, we know. It's quite the title. We had a lot to learn. Anyway, while we did cover this topic before, we have definitely changed our format. So let's grab our blankets, milk, and cereal bowls and dig into those monster cereal boxes to see what lies inside. Just as before, we'll be journeying back to the year 1971, where two cereals would explode into the marketplace and quickly rise in popularity. In 1971, thanks to General Mills, the breakfast world would receive some of the greatest cereals ever made, the iconic Count Alfred Chocula and Franken Berry. After the success of Lucky Charms, General Mills was looking for the next cereal that could succeed in a very competitive Saturday morning market. So in the late 1960s, they asked their marketing department to create two new mascots for the new cereals. The new cereals would be chocolate and strawberry, which at the time of their premiere were both bold new flavors. In 1969, copywriter Laura Levine was inspired by Universal Studios' monster movies and created Count Chocula and Frankenberry. Minnesota artist George Carn would also lend his talent to drawing the original sketches for the Count.
Now, the name George Carn may sound familiar, as he was also the artist that drew the Trix Rabbit in 1959.
The Count Chocula character himself is based on Bela Lugosi's 1931 Dracula design and originally voiced by Jim Dukas. He wears a brown tuxedo with a reddish cape, shoes with spats, and has the familiar widow's peak hairstyle and pale skin. Since he was made to be kid-friendly, the Count was presented as very friendly and charming with two front buck teeth. Designed in collaboration with their advertising team, Dancer Fitzgerald Sample, the Frankenberry character is a pink monster based on none other than the Frankenstein's monster. Of course, he's bright pink, which makes sense since the cereal is strawberry after all. Frankenberry would have the stereotypical square head with a stovepipe on the side and a temperature gauge on the other. No need to ask any questions, it's just awesome. Frank would also have porthole-rimmed eyes, antenna ears, and strawberry-shaped fingernails. He would originally be voiced by Bob McFadden and wore a pink shirt, pink pants that were held up with pink chains, and pink shoes. Like Count Chocula, Frankenberry was also made to be kid-friendly, so he was also given a fun, goofy personality that kids absolutely loved. And adults. These two mascots were presented as cereal rivals of a sort, and they were often seen playfully arguing about which one of their cereals was best. Before we get into what these cereals were actually made of, let's take a look at the very first commercial. Roll it.
Don't be scared. I'm the super sweet monster with the super sweet new cereal, Count Chocula.
Biffle, here's the super sweet new cereal, Frankenberry.
But I've got chocolate sweeties for monstrous chocolate flavor.
Well, I've got berry-flavored sweeties for monster strawberry flavor.
Count Chocula.
Frankenberry.
Hi.
Frankenberry.
Count Chocula.
The commercial opens with a box in front of a display of Count Chocula and Frankenberry cereals. Count Chocula emerges, quickly assuring us as the audience that we don't need to be scared as he's just introducing his new Super Swing new cereal. Frankenberry cuts in with his new Super Sweetness cereal. You can see where they're going with this rivalry. Both monsters highlight the taste of their respective cereals as they argue when suddenly a kid walks up and scares the two of them. They jump into each other's arms and drop their boxes where the kid catches them and walks away. Score! The simple 30-second commercial would launch the Monster cereal brand into the marketplace. And now that we've talked about one of the most iconic trios in cereal, next to the Rice Krispie guys and the Cinnamon Toast Crunch guys, I guess, let's take a look at what this cereal was actually about. You're going to want to hear this. The original 1971 cereal would be made of oat flour, which was similar to how Lucky Charms were made at the time. These pieces would be circle-shaped with a cross in the middle. There would of course also be the Marbits, mini marshmallow pieces. They were designed to be round and pellet-shaped and were made of sugar, dextrose, corn syrup, and gelatin. I think Goat's got a little technical with this one, but I like it. The Count Chocula cereal pieces would get their chocolate flavor from a cocoa processed with alkali. Frankenberry, on the other hand, would get its flavor from artificial strawberry flavoring, and it got its pink color from a synthetic dye called amaranth that is made from F, D, and C red number 2 and red number 3. As kids consumed both cereals with delight, the parents noticed an issue and began to panic. Now, in case you missed our first video or any of the other countless videos on this topic out there, now you may be wondering what could have possibly happened or went wrong. It is General Mills after all. You're not going to believe this because as luck would have it, the Frankenberry cereal dyes had a side effect of turning the kids' poop pink.
Pink?
Yep, pink.
Yeah, that's not normal.
What's normal? Apparently what had happened is that it was found that the human body couldn't properly digest high levels of the amaranth chemical. So with kids often eating more than a serving size at a time, duh, especially on Saturday mornings, you got pink doo-doo. Macabre'Gorium Labs will return after this commercial break. Hey kids, are you tired of the same old cereals? Are you looking for a brand new flavor? Are you looking to freak out your parents? Well, check out the sweetest monsters in the game. Enjoy the chocolatey smoothness of Count Chocula, but be sure to stick around for the fruity goodness of Frankenberry. But awesome flavors aren't all up for grabs here, because check this out, kids. Frankenberry also hides a monster secret. If you eat enough of it, you can turn your poo bright pink and freak out your parents too. So run down to your local supermarket and get your boxes of monster cereals before they disappear. Also look for Boo Berry, Fruity Yummy Mummy, and Fruit Brute. Available at select locations. This message was not endorsed by General Mills and was made for parody only. Some of the things discussed in this parody haven't been relevant for many, many years and have been discontinued. If you find yourself having pink poo, hilarious as it may be, you should probably seek medical attention immediately, as pink poo is probably not good for you. Macabre'Gorium Labs does not endorse monsters coming out of cereal boxes to eat your children, but it is a possibility. You have been warned. Have a great day. And now back to Macabre'Gorium Labs. Now, of course, this was a completely harmless accident, but it did spawn a medical case study and was officially designated as a condition called Frankenberry stool. Wisely, General Mills decided to pull the dye and change the formula to include the FDA-approved Red 40 dye instead, solving the problem once and for all. Building on the success, General Mills would release the next monster cereal around October of 1972. The world would be introduced to the one, the only, Boo Berry, the mascot for the first ever blueberry-flavored cereal. The Boo Berry character was designed by the Dancer Fitzgerald Sample Advertising Agency and was originally voiced by Paul Frees. Now, with a name like Boo Berry, the character would, of course, be a ghost. He was a blue ghost with a red bow tie and a yellow hat. He also had a chain attached to him with a box of cereal and a bowl. In his introductory commercial, he meets Count Chocula and Frankenberry at their house. At first, they're frightened by him, but he quickly explains who he is and what his cereal tastes like. The two began to argue over which cereal is best as they kick Boo Berry straight up out of the house. Jerks. The two continue to argue inside while Boo Berry simply floats through the door and joins the lively debate, ending the commercial. Boo Berry would have cereal pieces made out of oat flour and cornmeal. The pieces themselves were the usual circle shapes with crosses and blue marbits. The cereal would get its blueberry flavor from artificial flavoring and its color from artificial colors Blue 1 and Blue 2. And the fun didn't stop there, because Boo Berry also had the added fun side effect that kids could use to freak out their parents, albeit slightly differently. This is because the blue number 1 synthetic food coloring, when eaten in high amounts, also did not break down during digestion, resulting in green or purple poops. And just like the Frankenberry poo, this was a temporary and harmless problem that the parents didn't panic about this time around. However, unlike Amaranth, Boo Berry would contain the blue number 1 until 2015, when it would be replaced by fruit and vegetable juice sources. With the monster cereals being an official hit, General Mills would begin to add even more monsters to the lineup. In 1974, Fruit Brute would make his way onto our breakfast tables. This fruit-flavored cereal would have whole grain corn and cornmeal pieces with lime-flavored marshmallows. The pieces would be the normal circle with a cross, but they would be pink and brown. The monster for this cereal was none other than Fruit Brute, a fun howling wolf character without a known voice actor. The introduction commercial shows Count Chocula and Frankenberry sleeping in their castle before being woken up by a howl. Fruit Brute then shows up wearing his trademark striped overalls, which causes the other two to become scared as usual, and he introduces himself and his cereal while the others tell him about their cereals and how they're better. Fruit Brute howls at them, which sends them both scurrying out of the castle. Although there were fans of this cereal, it wasn't as popular as the other three and would be discontinued in 1983. But this would not mark the end of this iconic character, as we will soon discuss. After removing Fruit Brute from the line, it would be a few years before we got another monster. But there were other changes happening with the monster cereal line during that time, because in 1983 the marshmallows would go from the tiny marbits you could barely see into bigger marshmallows. So after many years, the cereal pieces being circles with crosses, in 1985, General Mills would change all that. They brilliantly decided to change the cereal pieces into ghost-shaped pieces. And this makes a lot of sense. After all, it is the monster cereals. Then, later in 1988, we got Fruity Yummy Mummy to replace Fruit Brute. Boo. This time the character would be based on the classic mummy monster. However, in keeping with the kid-friendly style, this mummy was fun-loving and had colorful yellow and pink bandages. Like Fruit Brute, there is no official credited voice actor for the 1988 Yummy Mummy. The first commercial in 1988 introducing Fruity Yummy Mummy would begin with Count Chocula and Frankenberry climbing through a pyramid when they suddenly fall through a trap door inside. Indiana Jones would be proud. The boys end up at a breakfast table where the Yummy Mummy emerges from his tomb with 2 floating spoonfuls of the cereal. He sends a spoon into the Count's and Frankenberry's mouth so they can get a taste. The 2 remark about how big the marshmallows are and break into a song saying that Fruity Yummy Mummy makes your tummy go yummy. Yes, I just said Fruity Yummy Mummy makes your tummy go yummy. Yikes. You're welcome. The commercial ends by announcing the Monster Mellows are now in all of the Monster cereals. The original cereal pieces for this one were orange, red, and yellow, made out of oat flour and fruit flavored, with the marshmallows being vanilla flavored. Fruity Yummy Mummy would eventually also meet his end and wouldn't last, because he was discontinued in 1993. It would have the same problem that Fruit Brute had. It had its fans, but it just didn't have the popularity needed to stay in the market. However, also like Fruit Brute, this would not be the last we heard from our mummy friend. Now before we continue, let's go back around and take a deeper look at Fruit Brute. You might be thinking, what can we say, since Fruit Brute was discontinued in 1983? Well, as a lot of fans know, Quentin Tarantino would come out with the movies Reservoir Dogs in 1992 and Pulp Fiction in 1994. Both of these movies would actually contain a box of Fruit Brute cereal. That's what I'm talking about. 1993 would see General Mills changing from using oat flour and cornmeal to whole grain corn and cornmeal. This would change the texture and taste noticeably, but the Monster cereals would remain popular. With the 3 monsters, Count Chocula, Frankenberry, and Boo Berry, staying in continuous production, tons of kids got to enjoy them. Then, in 2010, the Monster cereals would start to only be manufactured and sold during the September-October Halloween seasons. Flash forward to August 2013, and General Mills would decide to release all 5 cereals at the same time for that Halloween season. This was especially cool since we could have the original 3 plus Fruit Brute and Fruity Yummy Mummy all at the same time. However, Fruit Brute would be changed to cherry flavored, and Fruity Yummy Mummy would then be changed to orange cream. Although all of the monsters would receive updated artwork, there were special editions that were an exclusive at Target, and these boxes were actually sold with the original retro art style and have become quite the collector's item. DC Comics would come into the mix in 2014 when General Mills decided they wanted help to create new limited-time designs. There was a Count Chocula by Terry and Rachel Dodson, Frankenberry by Dave Johnson, and a Boo Berry design by Jim Lee. According to the General Mills website, in 2020 the monsters would team up with a special effects artist named Carly Morse to create detailed busts of each of the 3 original monsters. And trust me, she did an amazing job. These things are badass. Moving on to 2021, a 50th anniversary edition of the Monster cereal line would be released. The cereal was historical as it was called Monster Mash and would contain pieces from all 5 cereals in one box. Then it happened. In 2023, we would be introduced to a brand new monster and monster cereal taste. Appearing as a limited edition Halloween cereal, Carmella would be the first female monster introduced with General Mills. Carmella Creeper is an edgy, modern, trendy zombie DJ and long-lost cousin of Frankenberry. This follows the same tropes as everything that gets the baby treatment. She's known for DJing at massive parties she throws at the monster's haunted mansion. Her hair is bright green, she has facial stitches and scars, wears DJ headphones, and a black shirt. Carmella didn't have an official credited voice actor either, much like Fruit Brute and Yummy Mummy. During our research, we were unable to locate an official first commercial for Carmella Creeper. This may be due to the marketing campaign being brought mainly to Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Which, if you know anything about Macabre'Gorium Labs, you know we most certainly are not on TikTok. The cereal has corn puff cereal pieces with caramel apple flavoring along with Frightful Friend marshmallows. In a fun twist, these marshmallows were shaped like various pets of the other legendary cereal monsters. While the cereal doesn't turn your poo any interesting colors, it does turn your milk a yellow-green color. Although she would be discontinued in 2024, we could not find a concrete reason as to why. Other than the fact that it was a limited edition promotion. Due to the limited times on shelves, we didn't get a chance to try this one for ourselves, but we have watched a ton of videos where others have. The general opinion seems to be positive, though, and a lot of people like the taste and texture of this particular flavor. However, knowing General Mills, we may see her again, too, in the future. In July of 2025, the monsters would once again receive new box art for Count Chocula, Frankenberry, and Boo Berry. This art came from the puppets that were created by the Jim Henson Company. These puppets would show up in advertising campaigns and in merchandise from the Henson store. Speaking of which, now's probably a really good time to talk about the merchandise this product line would provide. Like many other early cereals, the Monster cereals began with toy prizes back in the 1980s. Point of reference, check out our video on Toy Prize Inside. It's a little dated, but the information's still good. These prizes would either be in the cereal box itself, or there were better mail-in prizes you could get. Some of the items were stickers, figurines, toy cars, paint sets, and in 1979, there would be 3 flexi-disc records. The records would feature The Monsters Go Disco, Count Chocula Goes to Hollywood, and Monster Adventures in Outer Space. Here in 2026, the merchandise has become plentiful, and with so many options it would take far too long to list them all here. You can get t-shirts, hoodies, figures, pop characters, puppets, mugs, earrings, necklaces, cereal bowls, art prints, beach towels, pins, water bottles, tote bags, and plushies, and that's just to name an extremely few items. You can not only find the merchandise, but boxes of the cereals across the internet on many popular websites like eBay, Amazon, ShopHenson.com, and Etsy. Of course, depending on what you're looking for will depend on the cost. Most of the merchandise is reasonably priced. However, collector's items can go for several $100s or more. Beginning with a simple concept, monsters, General Mills was able to create an iconic product that kids and adults have grown up with and still love to this day. Us original 1970s and 1980s kids were raised on these cereals and are more than happy to be able to share the taste and nostalgia with our kids too, creating even more memories and fun. On top of merchandise, they actually came out with a tabletop board game. This game, officially endorsed by General Mills, is called the Monster Crunch Breakfast Battle Game. This game is for up to 2 to 5 players, takes about 20 minutes to play, and is rated for ages 9 and up. You can find it on all the usual sites for around $20 American. And this is one we can definitely cover down the line because we actually do have a copy of it here at the labs. Now, back when I was a kid, I remember getting these cereals, and it was like some kind of special treat because they were rather rare even then. They also had slightly different flavor and taste, and I never got any of the boxes with the toys in it. Damn. They are a lot of fun to this day. I'm not sure about the caramel apple flavor, but hey, General Mills, bring back Fruit Brute and make him lime. Love that stuff. And big shout out to Quentin Tarantino for bringing it back into the public eye. It was a lot of fun, and I hope they continue to come back every year to spookify our breakfasts during Halloween. But now you know what I think? I've just got to ask. Did you ever get to try any of the early Monster cereals? Have you tried any of the modern versions? If so, which one is your favorite of the Monster cereals? And if not, what was your favorite childhood snack, toy, show, movie, or other memory? Did we forget anything, get something wrong, or leave something out? Maybe you have a suggestion for a future video or just want to drop in and say hello. Either way, feel free to head on down to our comments section because most of the time we look forward to hearing from you. And with that, unfortunately, we've come to the end of another Macabre'Gorium Labs showcase of things likely forgotten. Revisited? Anyway, I've been your host, Bats, and be sure to check back next time because you never know what we have in store. And as usual, think for yourselves, be excellent to each other, and keep it creepy. There's nothing creepier than monsters at your breakfast table. See you in the next one. Man, can you believe how far we've come? I mean, look at this. This is what we used to do. I want to thank you all for being over 1,000 subscribers. It's been a long road, and I can't wait to see where we go next. Some fun facts about the early version of this video. It was actually filmed in an RV and took anywhere between 6 and 8 hours just to film the 10-minute video, because I tried to remember all of my lines, and the backdrop behind me was an RV hallway with a red sheet. It was a nightmare. Once I figured out I didn't have to be on screen for every line, things got much easier. But thank you all again for 1,000 subscribers, and if you want to see our commentary, Patreon-only version of this video, where we do a side-by-side comparison and Goats and I talk about the production and the differences, head over to our Patreon, link in the description. We really appreciate all of your guys' support, and we hope you stick with us as we make it to 2,000. We'll see you in the next one. Keep it creepy. You guys are freaking rad. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. You guys are freaking rad. Hope you had a good time today. I hope you like all the changes we've been doing, the little fake commercials and sketches. We put a lot of work into that. We're going to be making an update video I should have made a few weeks ago, but got sidetracked, kind of explaining some of the changes going on, so stay tuned for that. And before I finally wrap up and you guys head to one of these linked videos right here at this end card, I want to give a quick shout out to our patrons. Manic Goats, Corey Backus, Boss Mike, Woodstock, Viking Woman, Joshua R., Matt H., and Bill. You guys are the best. Thanks for sticking with us. Hope you guys like what we got coming. We got more stuff coming to the Patreon very soon. We've just been trying to get stuff figured out. We'll see you in the next one. Keep it creepy.